Mad Dog on Wednesday, Stephen A. He said he had to see him play a team of this competition, and we saw what happened. So with that being said, Danny boy, how we feeling? How we doing?
What's up, man?
Good morning.
Was last night more about the Dolphins or the Eagles?
It was more about the Dolphins. So first of all, I want to see how Mike McDaniel adjusts. This is the second time Miami has had a defense play in a certain way. We saw it in Buffalo when they didn't overreact to some of the motion and the formations that Miami is notorious for. They did a really good job of playing, top-down zone defense, not giving away a ton of yards after the catch. And this is the second time that defensively teams have played well against Miami. Also, that being said, I think there's a lot of good that Miami takes out of this football game. I don't want to say, again, Philadelphia played great. Miami gave this game away a little bit. First drive, they throw a touchdown pass, gets called back for holding. Tyreek Hill drops a touchdown. That's going to be on third down, a walk-in touchdown. Those are two right there. They lose by 14 points. The interception in the red zone by Tua Tagovailoa that Darius Slay makes a great play on the football. You get that taken away, and Tua doesn't do that, and there's 3 more points. So there's a lot of good that you sit there and you're like, Miami, if we clean up some of those things and allow ourselves to play a little bit more efficiently, we can go play with anybody in the NFL and beat anybody in the NFL. But for me, it's the biggest thing of like, when Mike McDaniel in this unbelievable offense has defenses or has a defense play a certain style that we've seen twice now, what adjustment does he make or get to?
Is these continuations of slow starts. And when they step up in level of competition, now we've seen the last couple of weeks, they score 70 against the Broncos, and then they get almost a 50-piece hung on them. They score 42 against Carolina, 31 against the Giants. And then if you look at it, D.O. and Stephen A., they only scored 10 points. The other 7 came on a pick 6. So that's concerning to me because someone's front line is putting pressure on Tua and forcing him. Like you said, he's not as athletic. He kind of reminds me of a smaller Byron Leftwich, the way his mobility is. He doesn't move very well to be a small guy. You would think a guy his size, 6 foot, 5'11", would have a little bit more athleticism, a little more twitchy to him. He doesn't possess that. So that's concerning to me with the slow starts. Until you do something against these better teams, I don't know how serious we're supposed to take them, Dio, because we've seen them against 2 good teams, Buffalo and last night Philly, and it didn't look good. It didn't go well. And then we see them against lesser tier, and it's a track meet up and down the field. So that's really concerning for me.
Well, let me say this to you. I think both of you are being a little bit too hard on the Miami Dolphins right now. First of all, what I peeled away from it is I love the chemistry that seems to be elevating between Jalen Hurts and obviously A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown is just that dude. He's something spectacular.
Yes.
You got to give him love and credit. Obviously, they can run the football. You got to step back to pass, and you're going up against Reddick and Cox and Graham and those brothers and Carter and those brothers. I mean, that's a tall task, and I thought Miami was still in this game.
Totally.
This is not the Buffalo game. This is not when they got bum rushed and beat down and blown out of the building.
Correct.
That was a game. Tyreek Hill doesn't drop that pass.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, it changes the complexion of the game. So I'm not going to knock Miami for this loss as much as I knocked them for the Buffalo loss is what I'm saying. That's where I'm coming from.
I agree, and that's why I sit there and I say, I don't want to speak out both sides of my mouth. Like Philadelphia, good win. Sean Desai, their defensive coordinator, was awesome last night. And they followed that blueprint that Buffalo laid out a couple weeks ago. And Hassan Reddick, I felt, was the best player on the field. But if you're Miami, you sit there and go, we have 2 touchdowns that we usually make basically taken away. One because of penalty, one because Tyreek's drop. And Tua throws a red zone interception. You walk away, I know you lose. I'm aware of that. But you walk away going, if we kind of handle the things that we normally do, you feel really good about it. That being said, this is the second time. I love Mike McDaniel. I'm a massive fan of him. I think his offense is unbelievable. This is the second time that a defense has played in a certain way. Shannon, you know this. They're not overreacting to motion. They're just kind of standing there and just letting it happen.
Yeah.
And they're forcing the defense, or they're forcing Miami to not get free yards or cheap yards or easy yards and just kind of be execution oriented. And when teams do that, they have been mortal on offense. They've been average on offense. That's what I want to see with Mike McDaniel. What is the evolution of this offense through this season as defenses start to try to copycat how they're going to play against that offense? That's the biggest takeaway I have from that game.
But if you think about it, Stephen A. and D.O., I didn't think the Eagles played that well. They had 34 rushes for 99 yards. Okay, let's take those 4 tush-push plays out of there, in which they gained 6 yards. So now you're at about 30 carries for 92 yards. That's not the Philadelphia Eagles that we're used to seeing running the football with a Jalen Hurts, with a Atwell, with a Gainwell, and with a Swift. Also, I don't know if you noticed this, D.O.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts came out in the second half, and if you looked at his left leg, he had a knee brace on.
Yeah.
Now, I saw him try to get away, and he started limping. So let's follow this over the next couple of weeks. Let's see how healthy can he get to the bye, get him some rest, and come back reinvigorated. Because they need 100% Jalen Hurts in order for them to go to the destination that they're ultimately trying to reach.
Yeah.
Dan, both their big losses on the road. Does that concern you at all?
With Miami? No, because I still think they're in play for the 1 seed in the AFC. They play Kansas City in 2 weeks. I think Kansas City's probably sitting at that 1 seed team.
Yeah.
So, no, for me, the road isn't as big a deal as I just want to see how they adjust. I want to see how this offense becomes a little bit more. Marcus and I talk about this all the time. Defenses force you to play a certain way. Mm-hmm. You have to be capable of playing that way to win. And right now, as great as that offense is, we haven't seen that in 2 different occasions.
I think it's pivotal. I think the most important game of the year for Miami is in 2 weeks against Kansas City.
In Germany.
In Germany.
Yeah.
And the reason why is that if Kansas City wins that game, the likelihood is that they'd have home field advantage.
100%.
If you're the Miami Dolphins, you do not want to be in Kansas City in January.
I agree with that.
You do not.
I'll leave you with this. Miami has played the second easiest schedule in the NFL. Is Travis Kelce the most dangerous pass catcher? Shannon.
Look, I think everybody knows how I feel about Trav. I call him my nephew. I think he's the GOAT tight end, given what he's done in the regular season, and then he steps up even more in the postseason. I think he's the greatest tight end to have ever played this game. But you say the most dangerous pass catcher is Tyreek Hill. I mean, Tyreek Hill has 53 catches, 902 yards, averaging 17 yards a catch and 7 touchdowns. He's the most dangerous because he's a threat to hit his head on the goalpost every time he touches the football. Now, Trav, I believe, is the more consistent as far as catching the targets. You throw the ball in his catch radius, the huge catch radius, 6'5", 260 pounds. But the most dangerous is still Tyreek Hill. He's the most dangerous and he's the most dangerous, the most lethal, the most feared of any position in the NFL. That's still Tyreek Hill. But Travis Kelce is the GOAT tight end.
All right, so first of all, watching Shannon's highlights, I would encourage everybody, go onto YouTube, type in Shannon Sharpe highlights, and watch them for like 30 minutes, okay? I remember I did that this summer, Shannon. It was unbelievable. So I completely disagree, though. As much as I love Tyreek, Kelce's the most dangerous pass catcher, and it's for one reason. You can play perfect against him. You could have the perfect play call. You could play perfect coverage. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Because of his route running uniqueness and because of his ability to see the field like some of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game and understand leverage and soft spots and zones and how to beat man coverage, you can play perfect and it will not matter. And the kind of variable that is attached to this one for me is quarterback. That has to be a part of this conversation because he has the most dangerous quarterback ever. He has the most, it makes no sense how these guys connect ever. Travis Kelce right now is on track for 130 catches, 1,300+ yards or 1,300+ yards and 12 touchdowns. 2 of those 3 would be career years. He's on track for 130 catches. That's outrageous what he is doing right now. So as much as I love Tyreek and as much as I think he's been unreal this year and Puka Nakua's been unreal this year, the most dangerous pass catcher is Travis Kelce. He breaks perfection.
Well,
Maybe
listen,
Taylor's motivating him.
Well, I'm quite sure she is. Let's get that out of the way. I'm sure she is.
The voice is unnecessary.
I'm just.
Do I need a towel again?
I'm just saying. No, we don't need a towel. I'm just saying. I mean, she is motivational. I mean, there's no doubt. Yeah. Having said all of that, I'm gonna roll with my man Shannon on this one. I'm looking at Tyreek Hill, man, and listen. we can sit up there and say what we want to say, but you already pointed out 902 yards, 7 touchdowns. Even being held under 100 yards last night against the Eagles, he's still on pace for 2,200 receiving yards on the season. 20 or more yards this season, catches for 20 or more yards this season. Tyreek Hill has 14.